Cool. So Julia is actually in her outside office, in other words,
In my
called the
car.
looking after the kids. And
Okay.
yeah, I'm in my normal office. That's the reason you have a real background, the real window profiles and other stuff that we're having here. So the toys that I like to have around. Cool. Let's go through the presentation. If you have questions, jump in. You can always jump in at any moment, like a more and make it engaging. The presentation is slightly different. It's a new tool that we found and I like a lot, but we'll have to see if we get it working properly. Let's jump in. Meet your Passivhaus HUB mentors. And here would be theoretically the song with Passivhaus. But you probably even don't hear it because I haven't put it on to sharing the song. But yeah, that's like something I like to do now, putting music into it because it's relatively easy. Yvonne is coming. Yvonne again, she was there earlier. Cool. And yeah, let's jump in. Cool. Let's jump in. What we experience as designers in the moment is that we have a lot of clients that are coming and say, yes, we want sustainability. Yes, we want to do something for the environment and want the healthiest buildings possible. But then we're always coming into the situation, but do we really need to do this? Is this really needed? Or this is really expensive? And this is where Passivhaus can help us a lot, because Passivhaus is giving us really clear tools to explain why we need it, and that we only do things that have actually as well an economical outcome. So from my experience, when I was still working as Passivhaus consulting and working with the PHPP, the fee that I charged was always less than the money that I saved. So this is something that people don't understand. When you're putting the stuff into PHPP, you actually find out if your sustainable measures actually have a sustainable return. And this is the thing that is so crazy. There's so many things that are done in construction with good faith and with believing you're doing the right thing, but it has no impact. For example, what is a good example? Let's go for the craziest one. I saved $150,000 science lab in Sydney for the German Steiner School, because they were putting on external shades and they put thermal insulation underneath the slab. And the air conditioning system was totally oversized, what is usual. That's normally always a place to save money. And at the end, I could take out the thermal insulation, the external shades, and reduce the air conditioning system massively. And we saved $150,000. And my fee was $18,000 in that job. But I've done only the PHPP. Knut was doing all the rest. So I was really just focusing on one thing. Yeah, and that's what Passivhaus can give us. So what is the benefit, or why is Passivhaus a solution for design? It gives us that clear definition and outcome for the clients that is always the same. So it's occupant health, comfort, and energy efficiency. We always achieve it as long as we're sticking to the Passivhaus standard. The benefits for the architect is that you have higher fees that you can charge. You're winning awards far more likely, especially in the sustainable part, and you have achieving premium clients that you're attracting with what you're actually doing. So this is the benefit to the architect or the designer. And then we have the marketable advantage is then you're standing out, and Passivhaus is seen as this premium and this highest standard. In my opinion, it's the lowest standard that we can actually, or that we should actually build to, but that is something that people don't understand. In my opinion, it's the lowest standard we should build to. We can do better than Passivhaus, but we need to get the foundations right. And that's what you're learning in the Passivhaus designer course. Cool. Then how does Passivhaus work? We're having our clear outcome, yeah, with our thermal envelope, or our thermal performance with the 20 to 25 degrees, the relative humidity from 30 to 60% relative humidity. If it's lower, the air gets too dry and we're getting colds. If it's going higher, the risk of mold is getting higher. So that's the reason we want to stay in there. And then we're keeping the relative humidity at the surfaces below 80%. Otherwise, when we're higher, we have mold problems. And then the air quality, the CO2 levels below 1,000 parts per million. The CO2, even if it goes above 1,000, is not a big issue. The CO2 is more letting us know if that room is occupied and if it is used, And then normally we're having other things in there like smells and off-gassing and yada, yada, yada that we want to get rid of. But yeah, more to that in the course itself. Then we have a clear energy target. Yeah, so outcome. Then we say, this is what we're allowed to use. Here we have the 15 kilowatt hours that we always hear for heating and for cooling. When we now translate that into petrol equivalent, then we come at the 200 square meter home to about 300 liters of petrol for heating and 300 liters of petrol for cooling. So if you would just use directly petrol, put it into the home and burn it for heating, then that would be our 300 liters. If you then could get that energy that is in petrol as a cooling load, then that would be only 300 liters. So combined, we would get 600 liters. What is not so much less, but it's already okay. That's 3 liters per square meter. However, we are using then a heat pump, and the heat pump has a COP normally around 3, and that means we have 200 liters of petrol for a 200 square meter home. And out of this comes this beautiful number, 1 liter of petrol per square meter. This makes it so simple to communicate. If you now have a 200 square meter home where you need 200 liters of petrol, you theoretically need to drive your home to the petrol station once a quarter, fill up the tank, bring it back home, and then you're having enough energy to condition your house as the maximum, that 50 liters. Yeah, so that's to understand what the efficiency is in a passive house. 1 petrol run a month instead of once a week. Simplified. Don't drive your car. Don't drive your house to the petrol station. It will be a bit difficult. Then we have our building requirements that we need to do to achieve that energy targets and that outcome. So outcome, allowed energy, and that is now telling us what we need to do. Harsh climate, thick buildups; mild climates, thin buildups. So the outcome is fixed, the energy is fixed. The only thing that can change is the building requirements. Make sense? This is exactly how Passive House works. So we go for actually making sure that we are doing the bare minimum to achieve these targets here. And by this, we're finding as well the economical optimum. So let's see if that now works with you, Julia.
Yes, so to achieve these targets that Daniel has just so nicely explained, we need some core principles that we are doing for Passive House. So 5 core principles, and they're defining this efficiency standard. So the first one is, and if you've gone through the course already or started already, you probably heard of them already. So number 1 is our insulation, super insulation. We want to build exceptional thermal envelope, and that the performance of that envelope minimizes our heat loss. So we want to do that with our insulation. We also want to have an airtight construction. That's our principle number 2. And that in the Passive House standard is defined as smaller than 0.6 air exchanges at 50 Pascal pressure difference. And that ensures that we have no energy waste through leaks through our envelope. Then our principle number 3, that's our thermal bridge-free detailing. So we want to eliminate all the cold spots and any condensation or mold risks. So that's what we're doing with our thermal bridge-free. Then on number 4, we're coming to the high-performance windows. Here we have, it says here triple glaze systems. Now this is, this is now again dependent on where you're building. So a milder climate may only need double glazing. But double glazing is the minimum. You can never achieve the performance with a single glazed window. So double glazed is the minimum, and some climates may require triple glazed. That's now for maximize your insulation and your comfort. And then the last principle here is our ventilation with heat recovery. That HRV system maintains your air quality and recovers the energy. And maintaining air quality means that you have fresh air in your home 24/7.
Yeah, so again, number 1 and number 4, these are the ones that are climate dependent. So in other words, harsh climate, more insulation, better windows; milder climates, we're having less insulation, less high performing windows, so that we're not overspending on these bits and pieces. The air tightness requirement, the thermal bridge requirement, and the heat recovery ventilation unit, they are staying pretty much the same. The air tightness, we are we are not building for space. We're still allowing an air exchange. We still allow leakage of 0.6 air exchanges. In other words, every 2 hours, the whole air in the building has exchanged in the wind speed of 3. So when your smaller branches are starting to move, this is what we're asking from a passive house perspective. So when you're looking at this way, at a small wind going, when the smaller branches are moving, then we're still having an air exchange of the whole air volume in a building in 2 hours. That's what we're calling airtight. So you don't even want to know what not airtight then actually means in this case. Cool. Let's speak about our mentors, who we are and what we are doing. So first of all, maybe the numbers are like a little bit, like I found them extremely shocking when I actually looked at the numbers. We trained already over 20,000 people. We certified around 1,000 people, probably more. That's the reason we put a plus in there, but we're not 100% sure because I lost track. And that's over the last 7 years. And yeah, that's what we have achieved so far.
And yeah, you probably, or most of you have probably met Daniel before. If you haven't, Daniel is the founder, the CEO, everything of this company, of Passivhaus HUB, or former Smart Plus Academy. Daniel's also a trained engineer and the senior trainer here at Passivhaus HUB, and a building physics expert. So anything building physics related, ask him, he knows. What is really impressive is that there's already 25 or more than 25 years of experience in sustainable and high performance construction. So working in Europe, working in Australia. So there's so much experience that he has. And I really highly recommend to, while you have him here, ask him the questions, because he's the right person to ask. His passion is to make complex topics accessible and actionable. So I said before, so many things that he made clear for me, so many complex topics that I only understood once we had a good chat. So that's what he's really good at.
Yeah, so that's really what I like. I'm the macro guy that understands the world, and I'm getting really bored with the micro stuff, and especially when they keep repeating themselves. So that's me. But Julia is exactly the opposite to me. While I'm the crazy dude, Julia is the calmness and the steadiness in our business. She studied architecture. She's the senior trainer that is always there. She is really good with the student mentoring and support. She has the patience and the personality that students trust her. I'm often more seen as scary, and Daniel responded to one of my social media posts. I had to do something wrong. That's what happens. I don't know why. And she's specialized on the Passive House aligned training for busy professionals, while I'm more thinking bigger than Passive House and freer. In my way of thinking, Julia is fixed to Passive House, so she's staying in that Passive House world for you, while I can go from one moment speaking about Trump, and the next moment I'm speaking about how solar cells are actually related to Passive House, and why Passive House is needed to actually make the electrification of everything possible. So this is the two different energies that we're having here, and that's amazing. So she's really the mentor that students trust and feel supported by. And I'm more the one that is the authority that people say, okay, if Daniel says it, or yeah, okay, that makes sense. Cool. Then we have another employee. She's called Amy, and she is there 24/7. Even if Julia is extremely patient and will really take the time for you, it's still, if you have kids or if you've worked with kids, you know the feeling that after a while this and why starts to annoy. And as we are a bit more conscious as adults and not kids any longer, we say, okay, no, maybe I shouldn't ask any longer, even if you haven't understood it yet. But here you have somebody or something, whatever we want to call it, the artificial intelligence or the alien intelligence, because it's not artificial, it's actually alien, it's not human. And that's that system is there so much easier for you to actually grasp the concept, because you have somebody that 24/7. Soon there's something you don't understand, go to Amy in your system and she will be able to help you. Then, yeah, back to you, Julia.
Yeah, so our certification path, if you haven't taken it yet, is we really sort of guide you through the different steps. So our step 1 is the preparation step, our Passive House 101 essentials. You can start with that straight away. That sets the foundation gives you good understanding of the basics before you start the real course. Then we've got our toolkit with all the downloadable resources, our formula booklet, and then we have a welcome session where you meet us and all your peers. Then our step 2 is where you master the course, where you have your 48 bite-sized lessons and our weekly Q&A sessions that you can join. That is to support your learning and to structure your learning journey if you wish to do so. This is not mandatory. This is something that you can join if you want to, but some people prefer to learn just by themselves. That's fine as well. Then Daniel already mentioned the AI tutor. That's available for you 24/7. And then we've got peer learning and community support with all our groups where you can just discuss amongst each other. Some people have a lot of knowledge in one part, some in the other. So it's really good to support each other. And then our step 3 is our certification. So the icing on the cake, where we have our strategic exam prep course, and then another exam prep session before the exam where we learn all about the technique, like what the exam is, some tips and tricks. And then finally, the international recognized PHI exam that you're sitting with us.
Yeah, it is the exam coming directly from the PHI. We are just guiding you through it. Cool. Then for you as a designer, we all do that because of we want to do the right thing and want to make a difference in the world. However, the most sustainable things to do are not sustainable if we can't afford it. So you need to have a return of investment as an employee, but as well as a business owner, even more as a business owner. So what I'm now communicating in the moment is Passivhaus costs about $500 a square meter. This is including already the builder margin and everything in it. So that's what the client would pay. And we have the situation that my European friends are all saying, this is far too high, we can do it cheaper. I said, yes, because your standard is closer to Passivhaus already. So there is not such a big thing. If you're putting in air tightness and never put in air tightness, it costs you a bit more. If you're using single glazing and have to go up to double glazing, it costs a bit more than going from double glazing to triple glazing. So that's that. And then on the Australian side, I often have it, no, this is far more. Passivhaus costs twice as much, and like totally stupid claims. The $500 is a good indicator. Normally that works well. Obviously, when you're building single-story buildings that are U-shaped, then that $500 are pretty sure not enough. Then you probably have to make it thrice, $1,000, because if you think it in a U-shape, how much external walls you have to have for that little U surface area, like all that roof area, all that floor, like the roof and the ground, that's just the area multiplied by twice. But the wall area that you need, if you would close that U and make it a square, you would actually reduce the amount of walls, and you have everything there as an internal space. And then obviously your cost per square meter will go down massively because you need less wall. It's simple as that. But yeah, that's the $500 is a good indicator. For you, what you're getting as a designer only, you charge normally about $50 to $100 a square meter in your design fee. The design costs are normally 30% of the 500, but that includes as well the certifier, that includes the thermal bridge analysis, that includes as well if you need to do a woofy or blow-door testing. All these things would be in that 30%. That's the reason you're not doing all of that. That's the reason why the $50 to $100 makes sense. So a 200 square meter home, again, that we're using here as an example, would give you $10,000 to $20,000. In other words, the Passivhaus designer course costs you $5,000, making with your first project already at least $10,000, if not $20,000. That's a return of investment of 2 or 4. Cool. Then back to you, Julia.
Yes. So why come to Passivhaus HUB, or formerly known as Smart Bus Academy? If you've been with us for a while, you know us as that as well. Daniel already mentioned the numbers. We've trained and certified a lot of people. We got good feedback from them. Our courses are flexible, so you can do them self-paced. There are short lessons that fit within your busy schedule. We have good support, so our weekly Q&A sessions, our tutor, and the peer learning. And something else I wanted to mention, it's like we're a small company, basically Daniel and myself, and we really want to make this a personal experience as well. You know, we know our students personally, we reply personally. It's not someone somewhere sitting, but it's us, and you can talk to us, and we want to guide you through this journey. A practical, so we have project-ready formula sheets that you can use during the course, during the exam, and also afterwards. We have build-ups. You will see that in the course, pre-designed build-ups and details that you can use later on. After, when you do your first project, you go back to that and you see it and you go and you adjust it to your project, and then you've got something ready there as well. And safe, as in no risk attached when you go with our course. We have 3 exam attempts. That's our certification guarantee if you're going for a package, and a money back guarantee if something goes wrong, for peace of mind. So yeah, that's what we offer, and that's what we stand for at Passivhaus HUB.
As well, maybe important to mention is education is not a side gig from us, that pretty much everybody else it is. Everybody else is doing education on the side. All what we do is education. I completely moved out of consulting and everything because it's a different mindset. To get you to understand what is needed is different than to do the consulting itself. And by this, we are really student focused, what you wouldn't get anywhere else. So that's as well something to point out. Yeah. Then success stories. This was good in the good old days when we were still teaching in person. That was actually at the Box Hill Institute in Melbourne. She's now actually a certifier here in Australia. That's as well amazing. And always when I see this picture again, I remember like this was such a good time. Yeah, so it's like just you see the stories, and as well my hair has changed a little bit and my beard. But yeah, no, it is the alumni is as well. They're giving us so much energy as well, and we're helping them as well. And everybody that has been working with us is really, really happy. That's at least from what we hear. Because sometimes we have this situation as well that we have people that have actually tried to do it somewhere else, and then they come to us and let us know that what we're having is so much clearer, so much better. And if they would have known, they would have never gone the other way. But this is just things that are happening here as well. Because for us, it's not a side gig. For us, it's our job. For Julia, it's a job. For me, it's a life. There's a difference.
A job too, Daniel.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously but you still have your family and your normal life. I don't have a normal life. I can't call it normal. But why is Passivhaus different? The clarity, the support, the speed. We optimized it so that you can do it in a busy life with the 20 minutes units. And instead of, what was it back in the day, over 100 hours of study, pure study, without the exam and everything, that would be 120. It's now actually 50 hours of study, or like including the exam and everything with the pre-course, the exam preparation. Then we're at about 80 hours. Back in the day, it was 120 hours, and we're able to shorten it by a third with increasing the quality of training by probably doubling, tripling. Like it's so much better now from what students are able to learn. And we see it at the questions that students ask, especially the alumni afterwards, when they then say, hey, because they understood, they not just learned it intellectually, that they can repeat it, they actually learned it physically, that they actually embodied it. So that's a different way of teaching here. Cool. Then like I said already, the cost is about 5K. The time investment is 2 weeks, and then you get a return of investment 2 to 4 times. And like you see our good Google ratings, we have only 5 stars. No, that's not true. We have 1 4-star rating of an engineer that said it was too easy. So they were actually, the thing what they said is we made it too easy to actually pass it. So that was the criticizing to get a 4-star, but that's the best 4-star that you can actually get, I would say, when others are like back in the day. I even had one person, she really got a panic attack, and like her pupils were getting big. She was breathing like, and I had to bring her down again during class, like because the content was so stressful and not study friendly. So yeah, it's a good complaint that I like to have. Cool. Then yeah, now it's up to you. You have 3 passes that you can do. if you're not ready, take at least a free 101 course, contact us today and say, yes, I want the 101 course, then you can get it for free. But the email needs to come today. And if you say, hey, I really want to do it, but I still need a little bit of guidance. Could we have a call? Then yes, you can book a strategy call. Julia is putting that all into the chat now. I don't know if she can you?
I'll try.
Sitting in the car. And then do I see the chat this time? I don't see the chart in the moment, but yeah. And then there's a discount code in the case you're buying in the next 24 hours. You can get a $200 discount on your order. Sounds good? Perfect. And this is us. So thank you, everybody. It was amazing having you. And this is us, that's Julia and us, and we're doing this from our heart.